decided to do something new. This is called Everyday Theology, and I'm going to drop in with everyday situations and just talk about theology and things that are going on in my mind that I've been reading in Scripture, and I invite you to join me. So currently, as you can see, I am cooking dinner, working on some breakfast for dinner for the kids. Tonight's the night that my wife, Ashley, she's out a little later, so I am taking care of things, and you will see my kids popping in, possibly my dogs. You'll hear some Netflix in the background, but it is all good. So, something you may not know, I worked at Pine Cove about 12, 13 years ago, and I had the privilege of being the breakfast trail ride cook, and they taught me the Pine Cove way of cooking bacon, which I've taken with me and I absolutely love. Yes, sir? Okay, that's fine. I don't mind. And so, the great thing about it is a very, very slow and intentional way of cooking bacon. You cook it at 350. The goal is to not cook it as fast as you can, but to be intentional, to watch the bacon, to care for it. And the big thing you're watching for is when it starts to bubble on the top. That's the time to turn it over. It's right before it's going to burn. And you cook it. I move it to where it's a little bit lower on the grill, not my hot spots. At the very end, it crisps up. Now, if you're at Pine Cove, then you put it in the oven and you drench it in maple syrup and you let it caramelize. We don't do that here just because we're trying to avoid some of the sugars, but it is absolutely fantastic. So this summer, being a teacher, I get the privilege of having the summer off to be with my kids and to do life with them. But one of the things I notice is there is this almost need to accomplish things. I don't know if you feel that ever. That there's always something to pick up. There's always something to clean. There's always laundry to be done. There's always somewhere that people have to be. And it's just task after task after task. And the list goes on. And sometimes it makes it difficult for you to stop and simply be present. To be where your feet are, right in front of the person that's standing in front of you, and to not feel the urge to move on, to go to the next thing. We feel overwhelmed by our schedules. We feel overwhelmed by the things that have to get done, and sometimes it's at the expense of relationships, and sometimes it's at the expense of our relationship with Christ as well. So today, the scripture that was popping into my head was the story of Mary and Martha. And I'm going to read it for us. It's Luke chapter 10, 38 through 42. So it says this: As Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. She had a sister called Mary who sat at the Lord's feet, listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. She came to him and asked, "Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work by myself? Tell her to help me." "Martha, Martha," the Lord answered, "you are worried and upset about many things, but only one thing is needed. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her." How many times do we fall into the trap of being Martha, of getting lost in our responsibilities, getting lost in the things that just have to get done? Now, don't hear me wrong. I'm very much cooking right now, taking care of the tasks that need to happen. There are things that have to happen in life, and the kids got to eat. You got to go to work. You got to take care of things. There's got to be a time where you are taking care of your house and cleaning up and doing laundry. But do we sometimes focus more on the task, more on the list, more on the responsibilities than we do on the relationships? Well, when I went to Scripture, something very, very interesting stood out to me this evening. I don't know that I had realized prior that the story that falls right before this is the parable of the Good Samaritan. Jesus tells that parable, and then we end up here in this home, in this beautiful story. So why would that be relevant? Well, there are lots of ways for us to unpack and interpret the story of the Good Samaritan. But one way that you really can't argue is that Jesus is calling us to be good neighbors. Meaning, whoever you are, how high, how low, how religious. Hey, Cannon, come here, buddy. Come here. No matter who you are, whatever your position is, that you always have to take time to take care of those in need. You good, buddy? All right, hey, can y'all keep the peace for a minute? Can y'all be good friends? Good brothers?
I want Mason to go in his room.
Oh, well, he's going to hang out with you, okay? Okay,
I think I want to hang out with you.
Well, then come on over. So, wherever you're at, taking time for those who are in need. And that may take the form of many different situations. It could be somebody who's hurting on the street. It could also be a kid with a sore throat. It could also be a kid who really wants to spend time hanging out and playing. It could be lots and lots and lots of different things. So it's making sure that you're being aware and being present enough and not worried so much about where you're going and what has to be done that you can't stop and see someone and talk to them and be with them and be present and help. It's fascinating. So that happens. Now, oftentimes in this story, really we don't look a lot past that idea of it's always better to sit at Jesus' feet, right? That's never really a bad option. That we come to a place where, regardless of what life is happening, what life's going on, regardless of what situation we're in, what valley, what mountain, whatever is happening, that it's always a good idea to find yourself. Make sure you're careful of this griddle, buddy. It's really hot.
I want you to hang out in the river.
Okay. Wherever you're at, to sit at Jesus' feet, to worship Him, to focus on Him. So, sometimes you're driving in the car. And, for me personally, a moment of conviction is I really like to listen to sports radio. I do. I enjoy it. I'm a big sports fan. But sometimes it's finding that moment to say, you know what, I'm going to turn on the worship songs. I'm going to put on my playlist that feeds my soul. Maybe even I'm going to, as I pass cars, have a moment where I'm connecting with Jesus, praying for people as I pass them, and not simply going through life, driving, trying to get where I'm going as fast as I possibly can. That is important, to sit at the feet of Jesus. Can't really argue that. That is a good thing. Hopefully on a daily basis, even as you are cooking bacon in the kitchen, even as you are putting out fires with kids who don't really want to spend time with each other, whatever that is, hopefully you are finding time, you are finding moments to sit at the throne of Jesus, to sit at His feet, to worship Him, to call Him Lord, to surrender your life, to ask, what do you want from me, God? Jesus, what do you want me to do? What's the path that you want me to take currently? Hey, buddy, come here. Come here, buddy. Come here, buddy. Right here. Here's the next one, though. It's not just about sitting with Jesus that's what's right. Because it sits right after that Good Samaritan parable, and because it's something that we model, we are called to be Christ followers, meaning we imitate Him. We are meant to look like Him so that we can reflect Him to a world that needs to know Him and maybe doesn't know it at all times. So one of the callings of this story is there are so many things that you can busy yourself with that have to get done on a daily basis. Tasks and to-do lists and cleaning. And sometimes the right thing, yes, it's always right to sit at the throne of Jesus, but sometimes the right thing is to stop the busyness. To say, you know what, it's okay if this doesn't get done right now. And to spend time in relationship with people. Because people have needs. You have friends in this life. You have family. And a reality is that all of those people have brokenness in their life. All of those people are dealing with various different issues that to them may feel like things that they can't overcome. There are people in this world who are desperately seeking to be seen, to be heard, to be listened to, seeking relationship, seeking to know someone, seeking to matter. And wouldn't it be a shame if our need to keep our things clean, to keep our appearances up as if we're keeping this life going in a certain way, to make our house look better, to make our things look better, wouldn't it be a shame if that took priority over relationship? That took priority over your kids, over your good friends, over your coworkers, over your spouse. What happens if we take this story of Mary and Martha seriously and we say, you know what the right thing to do is? Even though everything in your instinct is, I need to clean, I need to take care of this, I need to knock out this thing for work, I need to get this done. But what if the right thing for you today is to simply stop, to look, to listen, and to say, who can I spend time with? And to be aware of what other people's needs are. And the fact that you may be in a position where you need to practice the ministry of presence. What's the ministry of presence? It's the idea that Christ places people in your path as you walk through life in a way that I personally believe is guided by Jesus. I believe that the Lord guides our steps, that he puts us in places, he puts us in relationships, and he has plans for us. And the ministry of presence is being aware to the fact that God has a work for you with people currently in your circle, in your life. Some of those people are incredibly close to you. Some of those people you may have never noticed before. So, as you sit down to make dinner, stand up, as you take that next load of laundry out of the dryer and you get ready to fold it, as you jump in the car to take your kids to practice and camp and play dates, as you stop to fill up your tank of gas, don't forget to be around the people you're around, to see who they are and to acknowledge them, and to constantly be working to say, how can I be a presence for them? How can I listen to them? How can I minister to them? How can I be a reflection and imitation of Christ to them? Now, I believe that starts with a bit of intentionality. Just as I'm slowly cooking this bacon and I'm turning the pieces individually, sometimes it starts with this idea of filling up my cup with Jesus, sitting at his feet in the morning, opening scripture so that he can say, look at this story of Mary and Martha. Turning on that song and worshiping and listening to the words and truly communicating those to Christ. It starts with that filling up your cup so that it's full, so that you're ready, so that then you're not simply pouring everything you have out for others, but you're in this state of constantly refilling, constantly letting Christ fuel you up so that you have all that you need. And at that point, you're really not pouring the cup and turning it over. At that point, really what you're doing is you're overflowing. You're overflowing the goodness of Christ to everyone around you. Not so worried about the bacon, not so worried about the things that you have to do, not so worried about the fact that that's dirty or that's wrinkled or that's not clean or that weed is out there, but focusing on others and taking care of the responsibilities as you can, but keeping relationships as the best thing. Christ called us to be in relationship. He called us to be relational people, to be around others, to spend time with others. Don't neglect those. So I'm going to finish this bacon. I hope every one of you has a fantastic day, and I will see you next week.